What's going on? It's Justeeni here. It's been a minute since I've done this, but I have a moment that looks like a cool turn. It's been a while since I've had one of these, and I've also had the chance to record. But yeah, so we've got a barter drylands moment. This is like one of the first times I've played normal drylands in a while, because yeah, I wanted to do chop strat. I'm gonna be making a video on it for sure. But I had this really interesting turn, and maybe you can see why. There's quite a lot going on here. And effectively what we're going to be looking at here is how to properly punish the opponent in this situation. So maybe you can see what they did wrong here, possibly. But yeah, we're going to see how can we take advantage of their mistakes as optimally as possible and just, you know, get a really good turn in, because I am in a pretty decent spot. I'm like a little cut off from the rest of the map, but I have a good amount to work with. But now here, this is where I can turn a pretty good position into a completely winning one if I play this correctly. So the goal here is going to be sieging as many cities and creating as many threats as possible, because if I can like get 2 cities up, then that's really good. Right away, one thing that you guys might notice is this capital is empty. This can be sieged. This city can also be sieged. Keep in mind, this is what my tech tree looks like. Also, I can step on this village, hit the rider. So I can already threaten 3 things at once. Can I threaten more than 3 things at once? I don't believe so. It's really close, but this warrior in the way just barely stops me, because I only have 4 units that can reach these. But yeah, I can't quite siege this, but that's okay. Can't siege this either. So the focus after kind of realizing this is what we care about is how do we want to block? So there's kind of some things we can get out of the way though. Like for example, this warrior move is kind of a given. There's not really anything else I can do with this warrior except move and hit. So we're going to do that. Now over here, there's some other things to decide. I can kill this warrior, and I need to kill it with this rider. If I do it with this rider, then I won't be able to kill this rider and bounce into the capital. And then this rider can reach, but I'd have to giant push. I guess that is an option I can consider, because I can actually get a giant here for very cheap. However, I still don't think it's good to use the rider on my capital, because I need it to siege this city. It's the only way that I can do that without using other important units. So yeah, there's that. I mean, is there a way that I can do things a little different? I don't believe so. So again, I can siege this, and I can siege cap. And I think that's a pretty good start. And then the question will be what to do with my other units and stuff. So let's look at the capital siege first, because it's kind of a given. We kind of are just doing that. So in order to do it, I need to place a road. We killed this warrior, and then we'll move the rider later. And then I can road one of these 2 tiles. Not sure which is better. Diagonal roads usually are better, but this one can give me a bit more flexibility. I think I will go with this road, because I might want to place a road here anyway. So let's go with this. Now at this warrior, we can either have it go here or here. I believe here is going to block better. Yeah, this should block better. So that's what we'll go with. It's right on top of their road. Now we get a cap siege. And then last thing is sieging the city and deciding how to block. So because I know that I'm sieging the city, I'm going to place these roads. It's kind of a given here. Then I can hit, and then siege. And notice, again, I'm not moving any riders because I want to decide how I block, because there's always the question, do you need to block? And if so, how? So currently, I suspect they have like enough units to unsiege the capital. I think that should be a given. We should always assume that they can unsiege the capital. But now we want to make sure we can keep either one of these or both of these. Now we can't do any blocks to ensure that we keep this, so if we lose this, we lose this. So it's a matter of keeping this, really. And yeah, if we can keep that, then that's really good. I will also check this at exactly level 3, so I don't think they're getting any giant push out of nowhere. They don't have climbing, from what I've observed. So we're kind of good to go there. So yeah, we'll look at the blocking and then we'll consider the rest of our turn. So how can they reach this? Again, assuming they take out whatever's here, they need a 10 HP and a 5 HP, so this 4 HP rider isn't even useful for this unsiege. They can use a rider, another rider. They can road this all the way, which means they actually have enough riders in vision to deal with it. It would take a lot of roads. It takes 5 roads, but those roads are all beneficial. Is it worth assuming that they can spend 5 roads? I'm not actually sure. But if they can, they use these riders to kill this warrior. And then they can use both of these riders, no extra roads required, to then unsiege. And neither of these riders have a kill. This one does, so this rider is pretty valuable, just off of that. So I think I might want to block with just one of these, just in case. And the other riders I can retreat to safety. So something like this. And then I can move this back. And this right back here. Now, this rider can also, I think it wants to go back here. And yeah, I am not buying Auric, even though I could get a bunch of upgrades. Just because I don't need it this turn. I'd rather train more units and stuff. Place the roads I need to. Now for dealing with the south. So I feel like I should be wary of them trying to steal everything I own. So I can either kill the warrior or step on the village. I suspect if I'm stepping on the village, if they can't unsiege, which I'm going to assume that they can't, which means they're not going to try, they're going to instead try to take me off this village, which they can do with just 2 roads. And if they take me off the village, they can block and ensure that I don't get the village back. So because of that, it's not worth going on the village. I'm going to kill their warrior instead and leave it at that. This strider, I'll move onto the road to get in the game. the sword will move up. Then I can road onto this village. But how many stars do I have? I have effectively 11 stars, so I can spend 6, upgrade, and then I can even upgrade some more. Although I actually need a little more for Grand Bazaar. I do have a forest here, but I don't know if I want to... I should be fine chopping that actually, because I can get Org next turn. And yeah, I guess the question is, do I want to move on to this village? Because it is expensive. It is 6 stars. And another 6 to connect. Which I can afford. And I do get my giant. And then I can get... I could get 2 warriors. 2 warriors seems pretty good. But it might be better... Is it better to not get a giant? I feel like I want the giant. So this is another tricky decision this turn. Do I want a giant? Or do I want to train more units? Because I could instead train a rider on capital, a rider here, warrior, warrior, and not step on this village. But I think I'd rather step on this village. I have this rider for defense and this, so if they siege here somehow, then I should be good to go. So let's chop away then, as they do with the chop strategy. And yeah, nice thing about chop strat, I know this isn't actually supposed to be about chop strat, is like, usually chopping your forest means your long term is screwed, but like, I have pretty good forge spots. So long term, I'm actually still doing pretty well. So there's Grand Bazaar. I could get a border growth. That would also get me 5 stars and then let me place a monument somewhere else, but I'd rather have the giant just for tempo. Place monument here. And then I probably want it in the front. So then Oregon Mining is a giant. Can look at other potential candidate spots. Like here, Oregon Mining is also a giant. I don't think that's quite as useful as all the way up here. This one doesn't even get a giant. So yeah, pretty simple. We'll just place it right here. Warrior, because I don't want them to road in and then siege and hit my rider. And now the final thing, rider or warrior. So they can walk in and siege, but I don't really care. I can also knock them off this village, even if I train a rider, because this rider here. So I could just, like, let them siege if they want. But if they siege and step here, I can still deal with that, actually, because I have this rider over here. I can just place a road and I'm good to go. Unless they siege with, like, a full HP. But if I make a warrior, I don't think I have to worry about, like, anything. So let's just go with that then. Go with the initial plan. And that's a pretty good turn. The opponent has to deal with a lot of problems. And basically, no matter how they go about things, like, assuming they unsiege and deal with this, they can't deal with this, and I haven't committed too much into blocking, so after I get the city, it should be very safe, and I'll have plenty of units the next turn. So yeah, hopefully things go to plan. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Like and sub, and have a good one.